This guest obviously needs absolutely no introduction, but I'm going to give him an introduction just the same. Oh, no, it's all yours. He's a legend. Definitely a legend. Redefined the horror genre, gave us all the roles for zombies, and continues to impress us with his social commentary from film to film. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Mr. George Romero.
Keep coming out to do this. I appreciate it very, very much, and I don't have much to say. I'd rather answer questions. So if any of you guys have anything to ask, and I think Tony's going to be here.
Yeah, I understand that Tony's on his way also.
Candyman, where's the candy? All right,
Well, while we're waiting for Tony, I personally, I'd like to ask the first question.
Okay.
I still consider you an independent filmmaker. I know you have a lot of box office success. I know that you've worked in the studio system. I know that you obviously have a very strong fan base. But I still consider you at heart an independent filmmaker from your early beginnings, going back to Season of the Witch and whatnot, even up to your new stuff. How have you seen the face of independent film change over the course of your career?
Well, I think it's easier today to make a film because you can grab a camera and make a film. The problem, what I got very lucky in that I was sort of doing my, I don't want to say important work, but I did a bunch of my films right at a time when there were independent distributors who were willing to release the stuff and release it unrated. And nowadays, man, everybody is either owned by the Mouse or by Time Warner or somebody else, and it's much harder to get distribution. Easier to make a film. It's easier to make a film, but it's much harder to get it shown today, unless you're doing a Sundance movie or So I think that's really the difference that I see. It's a lot harder to get a movie distributed these days than it used to be. And I was very lucky. I just was sort of coming up at a time when we were able to find distribution and independent distributors that were willing to take risks. And now the majors they don't want to take any risks. Hello there.
Thank you. At this point, if it's okay with you, I'd just like to open up the floor to questions.
Yeah.
I'm sure you get hundreds of them.
Okay. Who's picking the hand?
You are.
I am. Okay. Hey.
What got you interested in making your own film in the beginning? What was your inspiration?
I always thought I loved movies from when I was a kid, and I always wanted to make one. And I didn't think you could. I thought you had to be sort of born royalty. You had to be born into it or whatever. And some friends of mine and myself started a little company to do commercials, industrial films and commercials in Pittsburgh. And we were fairly successful. We wound up able to buy some cameras, some sound gear, and we had stuff to try to shoot a film. And we said, let's try to make a movie. And we made Night of the Living Dead. And, we just got very, very lucky. But I always wanted to make films. I just never thought I could until a bunch of us said, yeah, let's try. It was as simple as that. And as I say, it was in those days when there were independent distributors, and we got somebody to actually distribute it and show it. So a lot of luck. Hello. Good night. Sorry. Yeah.
What kind of horror and sci-fi movies did you enjoy when you were a youngster growing up?
Well, I'm old enough that I saw the first sort of re-releases of all the Universal, famous monsters, Frankenstein, Dracula, in re-release, but on a big screen at the local theater. Big screen. I mean, How many people have ever seen Dracula on a big screen? Okay, 6 of us, you know, again. You know, it's this beautiful film. And so that stuff was, I mean, I thought it was gorgeous. I thought it was, you know, great looking and really, really well made. And then the contemporary stuff, I mean, probably the movie that influenced me the most in the genre was Nyby's The Thing, if Nyby actually directed. And other than that, man, I mean, it was non-horror stuff, like Michael Powell's Tales of Hoffman. I mean, that's the movie that made me want to make movies. And it's this beautiful fantasy film. And, you know, so, I mean, a lot of influences that came from a lot of different directions. The Third Man, I love The Third Man. I love the Wells, Shakespeare, Othello, and Macbeth. I think probably I ripped off more from those films than anyone else when I did Night, stylistically. And, you know, so it's a wide variety of things, you know, that influence you. I just love movies, man. The Quiet Man, I mean, I love John Ford, I love The Searchers. I mean, you know, so somehow it all comes together and makes you want to make movies.
Well, we have
And
some-
you told me.
Well, we have the basic science fiction and fantasy.
On the way over here, I thought I was going to be in this car, and all of a sudden, they made me wait 20 minutes for the next car or something. But thanks for having us.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to be sitting here.
I'm talking to this guy. I didn't even see you sneak in here, man. So I'm gonna say, well, we're waiting for Tony.
You're a focused filmmaker. That's what you always have. But I love your reference to the Shakespearean influences. I think you're absolutely right.
You know.
You know, and then also a little John Huston too as well. The morality.
Oh yeah.
You know.
That's the stuff. You know, it's the stuff.
That's
you grow up.
We grew up a while. You and I.
Oh, I grew up. You're too young, but I
No,
grew
but
up.
I spent most of my time watching the old classic black and whites when I was a kid. It was a single mom, and that kind of stuff formative for me.
Yeah.
Good versus evil, you know, morality, doing the right thing, taking the high road, etc. Being real.
Yeah. Hard to find that these days.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Hard to find it in a clean way, you know, in an uncomplicated way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I love it too. I love that it's not so clear, but when you're growing up, you want that clear expression, you know.
And good stylistic choices as well. And then at the end of the journey, you know what you came to. You went through somewhere with your hero.
Yeah.
Peter Humphrey, John Garfield,
Yeah, even the Duke.
James Edwards.
Even the
You remember James Edwards?
James Edwards, no.
You don't. He's a black actor in the early 60s. He did Home, Brave, a lot of films. But he would have been a choice for you for the original. I mean, you got the right man, obviously, Mr. Jones. Rest in peace. But what a performance.
I'm sorry, I don't remember that. Home of the Brave.
Mm-hmm. Look him up. He was also connected to James Mansfield. I think just killed his career.
With who?
James Mansfield. James Mansfield.
How did that show?
Anyway, it wasn't the right time for all to be together.
I need to brush up on my history over here.
Oh man, you're a film auteur. You are a history.
Thank you, but I need to brush up. Who's that?
How do you like or don't like the way horror films are going now? Whether it's more about the death of how people die and the gruesome ways they die, like Saw or House of a Thousand Corpses, moreover stories.
But this is no bullshit, man, but I'll tell you, the last interesting horror film I saw was Candyman.
One of the last interesting films I worked on was Night of the Living Dead. So. Mutual respect. You need to go do Masters of War, man. What's
I know that.
I just worked on one, thank God. It was a Mick Garris one, but I know that he's interested in you. And I know he's interested in Savini, and something about you guys just being too busy or something.
Yeah, well, that's
Or need to do Masters of War.
I'm just afraid.
No, come on, man. They give you, it's a great crew. They give you.
I heard.
Nothing but respect. K&B does the special effects.
And I know.
I know your name was mentioned at least 3 times a day while I was there.
Well, I'll tell you what. I just haven't, I didn't, you know, they sent me a bunch of scripts and I haven't, you know,
George, you need to, what you should do, you need to write your own.
I need to
your own
write it,
movie.
yeah.
Did you see John Carpenter's one?
I haven't, Brian, I haven't. I know it. Is that, that's the one with Udo?
Yes. 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 Very good.
That's an inside joke. There's a couple of people here who are going to get it. The projectionist? Oh, yeah.
I'm late, but, you know, better late than never.
I'd love to do one, and I know they've invited me to do one. I just haven't, I really haven't had a chance to sit down and write anything.
Right, all writer's block.
Well, they sent me, no, it's not that. They sent me a couple of scripts, and I just don't want to.
I think you should do your own. Because what's his face? Stuart Gordon is going up this week. Peter Medic is there now. Did the Changeling. So yeah, they're ending with Japanese horror. But next season they're lining up. And Bernard Rose is going to do one. Your name was mentioned. All right, they would love it.
I would love it. I'd love it. I just
genre.
need a script, but I'm fine with it.
I'll write you.
You got a script.
I'll write you.
What advice do you have for someone who wanted to go into making horror?
You know, the only advice that I can ever give, I don't know, Tony may have a different perspective, is somehow go do something. Because you just can't talk to people and say that you're good. You got to be able to show them something. Somehow you have to be able to show something. So, you know, get an uncle or your dentist or somebody who has a couple of dollars, make a little movie. I mean, this may be my own perspective on it. It's the way we did it initially. It's just a bunch of us that had, you know, we had a camera. It was a lot harder. I mean, we had to shoot film, so it was 35 mil. It was expensive and all that. Nowadays, it's a lot cheaper. And there are a lot of, you know, you can shoot on video. There's a million formats you can use. So it's easier to get it made, and it wouldn't cost you so much money. The only thing I can suggest is do it. I mean, if you have any sort of passion for it, do something. Do it, because you're not going to be able to talk your way in. You're going to have to be able to show it.
Well, there's a lot of people that will talk to you. But at the end of the day,
That's right.
Yeah, for me, it's all story. Let's start with the story. Story. Any good film, horror, western, or whatever, it all begins and ends with the word. So write, pay attention, breathe, enjoy your life, have passion for life, and everything will fall in place.
You have to do it, though. You can't talk it. You know, you can't walk in somewhere and say, I know how to make movies. You know?
Welcome to LA. Why would you graciously avoid it?
So, what do you think it is you bring to the table? You got over 100 different citations on IMDb.
Citations?
Yeah.
The law's looking for me?
You talk about speeding tickets?
You've probably done more roles than any other African American actor in 20 years. How do you get so much work? What is it you bring to the table?
Well, I'm committed to what I do, whatever I sign up for, and I do my research. I mean, came from the methodology school of acting, where we actually paid attention to the word and then tried to sculpt the character and tried to come up with creative background, and I guess reputation. And I'm a fairly decent guy. One of the keys of working in this business is you always want to get rehired by the people you work with. I haven't worked again for George.
Sorry, man.
I'm working on it. Because I think it would have been something for me, and, but I know you get a big budget and move on.
No.
It's integrity, man. It's integrity, it's truth, and I love film. I think people that I've worked with know that.
Yeah.
When I got, It's all history, man. But this is, I love what I do. I wouldn't do anything else, and I'm getting paid for playing all the characters that I did when I was a kid in my backyard, raised by a single woman, and only had my resources as, as excuses for growing up. And then all of a sudden, getting paid for those same icons. So that's a blessing.
Well,
It's a blessing.
shit he's leaving out is that he's handsome, large, got a great voice, and he's a good actor.
The toughest role I have to deal with is raising my 17-year-old son as a single dad. He's entering his last year of high school right now. He's an aspiring musician. That is a struggle. Because he doesn't watch myself, so therefore he has a respect for me in terms of that, which is cool between us, I think he's snuck and downloaded everything on the internet, though.
Shoot. Pick either one of you. Go ahead.
I would like to know, one of my favorite actors was Vincent.
Scully? No, sorry, Price.
Vincent Price, yes.
Ah.
And I would like to know who you admire as an actor, an actress, from the old school.
Well, I gotta say Orson. I mean, Orson was my man in Kane, and that was early days. He was my man, my favorite. And then
Any of the new ones?
any of the new ones? Wow.
But you had Dennis Hopper, didn't
Well, Dennis, yeah, but Dennis is like.
you? He directed me once.
Dennis has gone Republican, let me put it that way. Yeah, so. Long story, man. I mean, it was, we had lost the copyright on the original film because the distributor changed the title and never put a copyright notice on it. Long story. So we wanted to try to reestablish a copyright. I've been working with Tom for years, and he did we did a TV series called Tales from the Dark Side. He did a couple of those. And I just thought Tom would be the guy to do a remake. And I wrote the script, and I wasn't going to, come around. And we wound up having a lot of problems with the guys that were financing it. They stopped sending checks and all that. It was a mess.
Yeah, that's right.
It was a mess, man. So.
But it was
That's
great
what
to come
happened.
around.
End product I thought was great. I mean, it took some shit because everybody said, why would you want to remake it? But I thought it was good. I think it's really good. Tony's great. Patty's great in it. I like it a lot. So.
There's a man raising a rifle in the back of the room, so we pay attention.
Actually, yeah.
Somebody's got a gun.
No, it's a sword.
Oh, okay. It's a weapon.
I got it in black.
Yeah?
George, I wanted to ask you, what's your...
Can't see who's talking.
She's in the center here.
Okay. Oh,
Outstanding.
yeah.
I wanted to ask you, what's your opinion on fast zombies versus slow zombies?
Well, I don't know that I have much to say. You may notice that at my booth I have T-shirts up there that say "Fast Zombies Suck." That pretty much expresses my feeling about it.
I wanted to also ask Tony if you could say his very best line, which is from the remake of Night of the Living Dead. After he kills the zombie in the yard, he just goes, damn you all to hell.
You know what? I think all zombies should have their asses kicked. What was the line? Damn you. Well, there you go.
That's pretty well done. Do you have a headshot? You know, I basically ripped it off. I mean, I read I did. I mean, I read the book and I thought it was basically, I thought it was about revolution. I thought it was about a new society taking over the world, which it was. But Richard started with One Man Left. It's been made twice in the films, of Mega Man and Last Man on Earth. He started the story when there's one guy left. And I thought it would be interesting to go back to the very roots and the very first night and the night that it started. And I couldn't use vampires because he did, and I thought that would be a little obvious. So I used flesh eaters. You know, I didn't even call them zombies at first, but I don't know. You know, I had this. We were making a little horror film, basically, and trying to push the envelope a little bit, but we were also, you know, it was the 60s, and we were all sitting around that farmhouse. So, you know, it was, in the back of our minds, it was really about revolution, and I knocked Richard off, and I told him so a couple of years later. He said it's okay, because we didn't make any money, otherwise he would have sued me. Shoot.
Yeah, with the problem that you had with Day of the Dead, would you ever be interested in making the original script?
You know, oh man, I don't, this is all, you know. I originally, for Day of the Dead, had a much more elaborate script, and it would have cost, you know, $6-7 million, which, you know, is now today it's peanuts, but in those days, the people that were putting up the money didn't want to risk it. They said, if you want to do the film unrated, then we'll put up $3 million. We won't put up 6, 7. And then that's really basically all it was. So I went back and I just cut it way down, and I used basically part of the story instead of the whole story. I had stuff above ground, you know. And so I just used a sort of much smaller aspect of the story. And I don't think it changed the intention of the film. It just made it smaller. You know, I actually like it. I mean, I like Day of the Dead a lot.
You know, I actually auditioned for Day of the Dead.
You did?
Yeah, I did. With,
Who did you audition?
Galen was the casting director at the time, Galen Ross.
You?
And then my friend, Ralph Romero.
Ralphie!
We were so happy for him, man. Because I was bartending at the West Bank Theater Bar in New York at the time. And I was so bummed that I didn't get it. And 2 years later, I guess, I got the night. So we were destined.
Yeah.
Terry Alexander.
It was real. Yeah, Terry.
Yeah, that's right. I'll never forget his name.
Great guy.
Oh, he's great.
Ralph? Boy, Ralph.
Yeah, Ralphie, man.
Too bad.
He's an actor who passed away. Since then, he just did.
But the thing is, he was ill for a number of years.
Yeah,
Everybody thought,
beat testicular cancer.
yes, and we thought this was going to get him. And what happened? He dies in some fucking
Car
accident.
accident, going driving back from LA to New York. But he and I were like this, because we used to go see every movie in New York City and stuff, and when the opportunity came up, it was so I mean, you need to know when an actor sees your name on a project, how important it is that they know that it's going to be something that has integrity. That's the name you get.
I love Ralph, man. I mean, he was just great.
Yeah. Full of life.
Yep.
Tony, I want to ask you, what it was like getting to work with August Wilson on his piece before he passed away.
Well, did you see the production in Pittsburgh?
That was my book.
That's your brother that did it. Yeah, that was the dream come true. I mean, I love theater. That's where I come from. And the production was called King Henry II, and it was a journey. I did it for 3 years. And,
What is that?
two people who are dead. Shit, Richard Pryor's next. Richard would have been a hell of a choice for Night Living Dead, boy. Damn you all to hell! Theater is my first love. That was a 3.5-hour production. I ended up getting killed by my mother every night. It was fantastic. But it was a great workout.
August, man.
They're actually doing a revival at the Signatures Theater in New York, and I can't do it because my son's in his last year of high school. One day he's going to understand the sacrifices. Oh, Jesus.
Shoot. Well, I don't know why I'm making these picks. Somebody should be.
Who's our operator?
Yeah, I didn't even see him sitting down. I couldn't see him. Go ahead, shoot.
Some sort of system. There's no people over there. What's up? What? Wait a minute. Hold on 1 second. Just hold that thought. Yes. Because my director, Bernard Rose, we had a 2-week pre-production period in Chicago. We hung out at blues bars, drank lots of beer, and he kept saying to me that this is going to be your shit. It was twisted as hair, but I believed him. And I loved my co-star, Virginia Madison. So that was easy. We're actually in pre-production, by the way, on the next one.
Really?
Interested in directing? Directly, baby. Yes, ma'am. Going back. Sorry.
Me? You know, I thought first of all, I thought it was a better film than I expected it was going to be. I went in figuring this is going to be garbage, and I didn't think it was. I thought he did a really good job.
No, it wasn't as good as the original, but
Well, that was my problem. I thought he had. Thank you. But my biggest problems were I thought it lost its reason for being, and I don't like fast zombies. But Zach did a pretty good action movie there. I just thought it was more of a video game than a flick. I mean, I just didn't think it had. Two people agree. Over there. Well, I'm certainly not going to do Cell. I think they already have, God, I forget who it is, but they got some young whippersnapper that pissed me off, but, whatever. And I've tried to work with Steve on a couple of things that just never happened. I was working on The Girl Loved Tom Gordon for a while, and it just never happened, because Hollywood didn't get it. We couldn't get the financing for it. I was working on Buick 8 for a while, and the same thing, it was too expensive. Nobody could figure out how to do those little monsters. And, So, yeah, I mean, Steve and I were still in touch, and I'd love to work with him again, but, it's tough. If he does a really hot novel, then Hollywood grabs it, and they want, somebody young and hot to do it, and that ain't me, so. Go on, pick somebody, you pick somebody.
The guy in the back row, yeah,
This
Nope.
probably falls in the category of the dangerously obvious, but George, what are you working on now?
I'm just working on getting through this evening. No, I'm doing this little thing. It's back to the roots. It's very way low budget. It's called Diary of the Dead, and it's once again an attempt to try to reestablish a copyright and get a franchise going. And it's going back to the first night, and all subjective camera, and, sort of Blair Witchy, but not. It's college kids out making a horror movie of their own, and when the shit hits the fan the first night, and they take off in a van, and it's all on the road. Route 66 meets chaos.
to be shot in Pittsburgh.
No, Toronto. Made my last 2 films in Canada. I'm living there now. And, love it up there, and I love my girlfriend Susie.
There you go.
To both of you guys, I'm a filmmaker myself, and to hear George say the last interesting horror film he saw was Candyman, to hear you say the last interesting film you worked on was Not the Living Dead. What, not necessarily horror, just cinema in general, what is out there right now that interests you guys?
Boy. Certainly nothing that hits the Cineplex.
I love Soul Plane. Snakes on a plane. Do you had a script? I remember you had a script about one of the deads taking place on the airplane, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, man. They ripped you off again.
It wasn't mine originally. It was somebody else's script.
Yeah, but I remember
And
that.
I worked on it. I did a draft on it. And I thought it was great. But it wasn't really zombies. It was like the plane rolling. No, man. The plane, it lost its pressure.
Yeah.
And so people went,
When they went to the bathroom, they saw a bunch of snakes.
No, they didn't see snakes. There was one guy who went to the bathroom and saw his own snake.
Oh, yeah. Be careful when that happens.
No, they went. It was the deprivation. The pressure, loss of pressure. Actually, the guy in the bathroom survived because
he was in the right place.
He was in the right place. And he didn't get Anyway, I don't know what happened to that script.
I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, never got done.
Having worked on horror films, what tends to frighten you most?
Snakes on a plane. I ever see a snake on a plane, I'll tell you right now.
Snakes in the White House.
This is in a red state. What is this? Is this a red state? No, blue state. Where am I?
I don't know. We got some affirmation there.
You're in a red state in a blue zone.
Blue zone.
George, do you have any
Who speaks? Yeah.
reminiscences about working with the Misfits, and would you ever work with musicians again if the opportunity came up?
Well, I have to work with musicians all the time. But no, I love Jerry. I love those guys. It was just that was just a weird thing that happened. They called me up. They wanted me to shoot a video, and I said, I'm shooting this movie, and I need a band in the movie. So we basically just made a trade. And I said, you come up and be in the movie, and I'll shoot the video, and we'll be a trade. So it was great. I had a great time. But yeah, man, I don't know. Would I work with musicians again? Of course. I mean, I don't know. Those guys were great. Yeah, I'd love to actually do. I had this project called Diamond Dead, it's about a dead rock band. And it was a thing that I loved. I mean, I just loved it. I just thought it was great. Nobody got it, Didn't. And Ridley Scott was involved. Was going to produce it. Still, everybody said, I don't get this. And that happens a lot, It's like studio execs or whoever, if it's not sort of what they want, or if they don't get it, it ain't gonna happen. Yeah. It blew away. Nobody got it. I mean, we had Scott Free. Ridley Scott was going to produce it. We pitched it everywhere, and everybody said, "What is this piece of shit?" I mean, nobody got it. I thought it was sensational. I mean, I thought it was just a gas. I really wanted to do it, but everybody said no, don't get it. It blew away. The producers are Australian. I'm still hoping. The music was written. The production design was done. The music was written, recorded, and everything else. Richard Hartley from Rocky Horror. And you know, man, I mean, it's like, I thought it was a no-brainer, but everybody looked at it and said, what is this gonna do? Never happened. Someday, maybe.
Get back.
Todd, George, big fan. Todd, what was it like for you to step into the role in the remake of Night of the Living Dead? What similarities and what differences did you bring? Did you want to bring to that role?
Well, I remember seeing the original at the drive-in theater in Connecticut, which is where I grew up, and I was blown away. A, by the stylistic impulse of the film. B, by the fact that it was a lead black actor. And it gave me validation that stay in the business, keep going to school, and do it. I was actually in Pittsburgh working on a film called Criminal Justice at the time, and I heard through the grapevine that it was being cast. I actually, I don't know if you know this, but...
No, I wasn't there.
Yeah, that's right.
Wasn't
When
it
we
New
met,
York?
no. I bogarted my way into the production office, saw Tom. Tom responded to me, and I did it verbatim because it was whenever an actor gets something they really want, things just flow, and it worked. And then, because I
That was the tape, and I thought you were in New York.
no, I saw you in New York on the Day of the Dead.
Okay.
See,
Okay.
So Tom said, yeah, he was excited, and you guys got on the phone or whatever. I went in on a Saturday, and by Monday I had the job, I know that. And that was just, I loved Dwayne Jones. He was, not only was he a great actor and human being, but he was also a terrific acting teacher up at City College in Harlem. I knew about that, and his work with Barbara Ann Tier. He's another legendary black acting teacher. So and we bear remote resemblance, and I just wanted to give homage because I didn't think he got enough credit for what he did with that original role.
Yeah.
Mr. Romero, you wrote the rules for, I think, a miniseries with zombies and establishing a system like Lost and these other shows that build with a team of writers. I would love to see that, sir. I would. You should do it or push it forward or something. But I would watch that every week. I think that'd be awesome.
Well, all I can suggest is write several letters, sign them with different names. To TV execs. It's hard. It's a very hard pitch. I mean, I don't want to bore everybody with business minutia, but it's a tough pitch.
Well, thanks for being with us.
All right, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. I'd watch it too.
Unfortunately, a lot of the modern executives and powers that be don't appreciate war. They have no respect for it, even though it's continually saving Hollywood's ass.
Yeah.
But going back to what you said, it's more about the killing of the thing as opposed to the suspense, the thrill. What's going to happen next?
I have a question about the first Night of the Living Dead movie. In the movie, Black Kirk survives to the very end, and then he gets shot by the Southern forces who are coming in to help him.
I'm sorry, I can hardly hear you, man. In the movie, what? Somebody gets shot?
In the first Living Dead movie, the last character survives, but then is shot by the forces that are coming in. Very like white Southern stereotype. Do you think there's some sort of racial message there? I'm just curious.
You know what? We weren't trying to do that. In fact, Dwayne was the only guy that we thought we were being, too hip by not referencing the racial issue at all. Because the script didn't name him as African American or white or anything else. And we thought we were being very hip by just leaving the script alone. Dwayne was the guy who said, I'm going to hit this white woman and somebody's going to shoot me on the street. He was the cat who was worried about it, and we kept saying, no, man, let's just leave it alone and just do it as if it was, like nothing happened. And really the only reason, the script was the same when the guy was not described as African American. He got shot, and it was meant to be just the irony of this posse coming along and, seeing a guy in the window and shooting him. Obviously, and because it was '68, because of, you know, all the anger on the streets and the beginning of this, you know, this new war that was, you know, we had. I mean, there was all kinds of shit that wound up being read into the film, which was not necessarily not intended at all. I mean, and to me, it was the irony of this, you know, this guy who's trying to do the right thing, makes a couple of mistakes, and winds up, you know, getting gunned down by the posse. Of course, because Dwayne was Dwayne, it took on a different kind of resonance, especially, you know. Well, we finished the film, we threw it in the trunk of the car and we were driving it to New York, and that night Russ Striner and I heard on the radio in the car that Martin Luther King had been assassinated that night. So, you know, it was just a bunch of circumstances. Like that. Well, I'd love to, man. I can't find him. I don't know where he is. I can't find Dario. I don't know where he's living. He's really a very elusive kind of guy. He surfaces every once in a while. It's like every 5 years I get a call. George, I am Dario.
Mr. Romero, I was wondering, have you seen the Angry Alien production of your Night of the Living Dead? It's performed by Bunny Rabbits, and like shortened down to 30 seconds. It's on the web. I was wondering if you've seen that.
How does it end? No, I haven't. I'm not particularly interested in other zombie movies.
This is for Mr. Romero. You think you might collaborate with Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg on any of their projects like they do?
Well, I'd love to, man. I'm wearing a button. Wonderful guys, hilarious. I mean, I thought that movie was sensational. I don't know. We were talking about a project for a while there, but now they're doing some spoofy police thing or something. You know, they're doing their own thing again. And I haven't heard from them in, you know, probably a couple of months. I know they've been shooting, but I would love to. I'd love to. They're just great, funny guys. You know, hilarious, British, droll, witty, you know, good guys.
There in the back. You're still in there.
One with the fluky something.
I was just going to ask with people like, you have Sam Raimi, you have Peter Jackson, they like start off with the horror genre, and then they have these street blockbusters, and then we wonder that they have such great lines and make such great movies, and we never get to see them make another goddamn horror movie. How do you think that affects the horror genre? You know, like once you make a pile of cash, you never have to go back to it, so, you know, you miss out on some great horror films that these people put in.
I don't know, Tony, you want to speak to that? I think what happens, you may have your own opinion about this. I mean, work with other directors, I've only worked with one. I think that, man, if you get that break, you know, it's very hard to resist the big paycheck. I mean, you know, Peter Jackson said some of the, you mean, you're going to let me make Lord of the Rings, actually. And you're going to give me $2 million to do Kong and bada boom, bada bing. It's very hard to go back. I mean, it's really hard to go back. And there are very few horror concepts. I mean, you'd need to have a novel like The Exorcist sitting around, you know, which Hollywood considered to be A material, you know, A-list material. Otherwise, Hollywood frowns on this kind of material. I don't know.
And also probably a lot of young filmmakers who think that choosing the horror genre is an easy way to go, particularly when Sam came along with Evil Dead and stuff. And, you know, but they're true filmmakers that want to get their vision out there. So when they get the payday, you know, it's like you gotta keep your teeth. You gotta, don't lose your hunger. And you know, as long as they tell good stories though, I'm cool with it. You know, don't ever do King Kong again.
You know, it's hard to find material, man. Hollywood's not going to, you know, there's probably a dozen of you people here tonight that have a script, but Hollywood's not going to consider it as A-list material unless it's like a huge novel, you know, Jaws, The Exorcist, something like that. Then okay, then they'll, you know, spend some dough on it. Horror is a sort of a, you know, poor cousin.
Looks like we can only take one more. We're at the last 5 minutes. So,
Okay.
Get this guy right here, man.
Okay. We'll meet you in the bar.
I went to a very good school where I actually got a scholarship as a writer-director, but we also had like these 5 terrific acting teachers. So when I moved to New York, I got my acting card right away. So that's how that happened. But my ambition has always been to write, direct, produce. I'm just waiting for that. I've had a couple of things, options. I'm a big jazz fan, so I had the Lester Young story option for about 3 years. Hollywood decided they didn't want to do jazz films. I have a Western script, which I had the pleasure of doing. Yeah, so at the end of the day, when my son goes to college, my daughter follows, yeah, I think I want to tell some stories. I like autobiographical stuff. I like looking at the history, the pages of America, and telling a lot of the stories that haven't seen, haven't been illuminated. You don't have to go much further, in my opinion.
once again, I'd like to thank Romero.
Patrick, you know the secret rail?
Yes, I do.
Okay, are you going to be escorting?
Thank you for your back. Almost done here. Okay. I don't think so, no.
Mr. Romero?
Mr. Romero?
Mr. Romero,
A
sir.
lot to do.
Okay, we can take that.
Okay, perfect.
Just want to remind everyone of the showing tonight. The film festival.
I'm sorry, we can play your camera.
Also, George Romero is speaking twice more at Park Film Festival on Saturday and Sunday, so come on back to that. And tonight we have 2.5 hours of the next wave of horror movies. So if you want to see the new horror films, new horror filmmakers come out at 10 or 2.5 hours.
I can't keep doing it. Go on, Leo.